A horrifying message for America from the terrorists in Iraq. Islamic extremists releasing a new video claiming to show the beheading of an American journalist and now threatening to kill another American in their custody. Fox News has learned that the video is being analyzed by a special group within the U.S. intelligence community, but we cannot yet confirm its authenticity. We took this image from the video. The man in orange is said to be journalist James Foley. We will not be showing you the video. He is a New Hampshire native. Foley was reportedly kidnapped in Syria back in 2012. The video shows Foley kneeling beside a man dressed in black. Foley reads a message clearly written by his captors, nor will we be repeating it here. It was clearly delivered under duress. And then the video shows the man in black beheading Foley. We have an exclusive with former CIA and NSA Director Mike Hayden in a moment. But first, our chief intelligence correspondent, Catherine Herridge, is live for us tonight in Washington. Catherine?
Megan, tonight Fox News is told there is little reason to doubt the tape's authenticity. The U.S. intelligence community is doing a forensic analysis. Do the images and the voice match Foley's? Where was it shot? And what is the credibility and terrorist ties of the individual who posted the video to YouTube? There was a sense within the U.S. intelligence community that something like this was coming because of previous threats from ISIS directed at Foley, who'd been working in Syria. And as a result, the video is being taken very seriously. In a statement, a National Security Council spokeswoman said, quote, "If genuine, we are appalled by the brutal murder of an innocent American journalist, and we express our deepest condolences to his family and friends. We will provide more information when it's available." According to the website where Foley worked, the video was uploaded to YouTube late today and then removed. The video claims that the reported killing of Foley is in retaliation for the recent airstrikes by the United States. On a Facebook site, Free James Foley, a brief message was posted tonight in response to a flood of questions. It simply says there are no hard facts yet, asking supporters to keep the Foley family in their thoughts and prayers. In addition, Fox News is told that there is evidence significantly that ISIS has at least 2 other Americans in their custody. In a recent interview, the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, who just retired, warned that al-Qaeda's ideology is growing in an exponential way. And Mike Flynn said ISIS is its manifestation, Megan.
Catherine, thank you. Shortly before we came to air, I spoke with General Michael Hayden in an exclusive interview. He's a current principal at the Chertoff Group and a former director of the NSA and the CIA. General, great to have you here on such an important night. Not only did they reportedly kill James Foley, but they have another journalist, Stephen Joel Soltoff, who worked for Time magazine, among other publications, who they are threatening will meet the same gruesome fate if we don't change our policies in Iraq and withdraw our troops from Iraq. This man's life, they say, depends on President Obama's next decision. This is terrorist rhetoric, and yet they need to be taken seriously given what we saw today. Put it in perspective for us, please.
Sure, it's just not terrorist rhetoric, Megan. It's terrorism, the literal definition, the killing of innocents for political effect. And that's exactly what this is. Now, I can imagine what's going on inside government right now. They're trying to confirm the video. Actually, more or less, they're trying to look for evidence to make it not true. And they probably won't find that. And so they'll quickly determine it is true. And now they need to figure out what to say about that. And I don't mean to say they're trying to be manipulative or evasive. It's really important what the American government says, because there are a lot of audiences for the next American statement on this. Not just ISIS, but our Iraqi and Kurdish friends as well.
How big are the stakes right now?
Well, look, the president articulated a policy which was very limited, at least in the way he described it. We're going to prevent genocide, and we're going to protect Americans inside Iraq, most recently in Erbil. But the American support for the Kurdish-Iraqi move against the Mosul Dam, that actually had American air power in close support to an offensive operation. We have already gotten beyond the president's rhetoric in terms of what it is we are doing on the ground in Iraq. And frankly, my point of view, we need to do more. Preventing genocide is a virtue. Protecting Americans is a virtue. But we have a fundamentalist, radical state now in the middle of the Middle East. We can't let that stand.
What are we going to do about this other American who is under threat right now?
Well, again, that's why we've got to be careful with our messaging, what it is we say publicly. But frankly, Megan, since I'm out of government, I'm a little more free to say we have to look to the broader interest of the United States. We have to look at all sorts of lives that are at threat.
Is that how the decisions are made? Because, you know, we're coming off of a period where we traded, you know, these top Taliban generals for the life of one American soldier. These are American journalists. But what would be doing? Obviously, there is an interest in saving the lives of Americans, even if it might be to the overall potential risk of America. It has to be a calculation. But what would the analysis be here? Well,
first of all, the analysis is there anything we can do to prevent it? And here, I just don't know what kind of intelligence we might have.
Do we have any? Do you think they likely have any idea where he's being held or where they can find these?
Frankly, I doubt it. But if we did, given the current circumstances, you might be more embracing of risk for the rescue force, given the specific circumstances that we now have. All right, so that's one course of action.
Who would make that call?
Well, that had to all the way go up to the president.
It would.
Before he'd have to make that decision.
Who would be making the recommendations on that?
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
And do you believe that they're game planning this right now? I mean, what do you think is going on?
Well, it's got to be based on reality. You've got to have information where the journalist might be. Absent that, this is all theoretical.
How significant would this be in the government? As obviously you know, the rest of us are obviously following this very closely, but how significant an event is this, do you think?
Look, our government, despite that kind of popular thought that it's a black box and input in and output out, it's comprised of human beings. They look at this video, too. They're emotionally affected by this. You and I were chatting before we went on the air that Iraqis have been beheaded, but this one seems more personal. Well, it's not that human lives have any different value, but this is one of our own. This is someone from our own village, from New Hampshire. This affects the people in the Situation Room and in the Oval Office the way it affects you and me. And so this has high emotional impact. I remember what it was like when we saw that Daniel Pearl had been killed by Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
And Nick Berg killed as well.
Right.
I mean, there was a time in this country where this was happening, and it changed it changed public opinion to some extent about what we were doing over there, because it was so gruesome and beyond the capability of the average person to grasp, to understand the barbarism, despite the reports that we've heard about what this group is doing. I mean, what should the mission be in the face of this kind of evil?
Well, again, as I tried to say earlier, prevent genocide, of course, try to stabilize Iraq, of course, protect the consulate in Erbil, of course. But fundamentally, what we've seen with this video is the character of the Islamic State. Now, do you want that to continue to exist and thrive and grow and be able to threaten other Americans, other Westerners, other moderates throughout the world? I mean, that's the fundamental question that we now face as a nation.
Okay, but you know that there are many people in this country who believe this wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have been beheaded. They wouldn't be under threat as they are now if we hadn't started bombing Iraq again. That's how a lot of people think. And they hear you saying we need to be more aggressive in the operations, and they say we will be experiencing more of this if we do that.
Yeah, this group tied this murder to American policy in their rhetoric. Now, do you think, does anybody really understands the situation in Iraq thinks that this group is not coming after us, is not coming after the West, is not coming after Muslim and Arab moderates? They have said that. They've made that very clear. And so, frankly, Megan, I know all about the war weariness here. I'm tired of war myself, but this may be a question of pay now or pay later. And paying later may actually be a much higher bill.
General Hayden, thank you.
Thank you.